Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. What's up, Internet? Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. It's Saturday, it's 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for our weekly gaming wrap-up show. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man, as always, and this is our almost all Mario spectacular. We're doing it live, of course, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. If you're watching on YouTube or on ReadyCheckRadio.com or listening to it on any of the podcast platforms, iTunes, Spotify, thank you so much. While you're there, give it a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe, turn on notifications, whatever it is for the platform that you're enjoying it on. And yeah, if you like what we do here, tell a friend. It's easy, it's fast, and it's free, and it's a great way to support us. Check out ReadyCheckRadio.com. Upper right-hand corners, all the socials, so you'll know exactly where to follow us. We're going to get down to the Mario Brothers movie, some other Mario news, some handheld news, and a bunch of other things. Joining me to do it, Mr. Dom Greco. What's up, sir?
Hello. How's it going?
How you been? You had the Rona, so you're good though?
I did. I'm good now. I'm tested negative as of today. This is my first time having it, so I have avoided it for 3 nice long hard years. I went to my first PAX, so of course, first PAX, first time COVID, boom.
Yeah, you were vaxxed and all that fun stuff.
I was,
like
yeah.
The symptoms weren't all that.
No,
smashing.
I'd say the worst part of it was, other than the fever, was the migraine. It's the same migraine that I get with the vaccinations, which absolutely cripple me. But the migraine only lasted for about 24 hours, and then I was good.
Good. Well, glad you're feeling good. Glad you're joining us. How was PAX and Goose Goose Duck?
So we didn't go on official capacity. It was just more for like funsies and stuff. So didn't go as the company, but for PAX itself, I felt it was a little lackluster. Maybe that had something to do with GDC being right around the same time as PAX East. They fell like within I think there was a day or two overlap of it, actually.
Yep.
So I don't know. I felt it was a little lackluster. There were some really cool things. I walked out with like 3 or 4 T-shirts that I thought were really cool. So.
Yeah, we honestly, covering them here and covering them on MMO Bomb, we kind of said the same thing about both PAX and GDC, that it was like, yeah, we're not surprised E3 is canceled. None of these conventions is terribly interesting at the moment, so.
Yeah, and I talked to a couple vendors that had been there like for many years, and they said the aisles used to be like really tight one-way like aisles that you could only go down one. They're like quadruple wide right now, where it's like, it's insane. We actually did the entire convention in one day. We did it on Thursday before like the big crowd showed up. We saw everything there was to see Thursday. We had an all day. We had the all weekend pass, all 4 days. So it was like we just kind of hung out and just like did whatever, met up with some people and stuff, which is kind of cool. Like that's always the fun part, is like just meeting people. So
yeah, it's going to be weird seeing how these things evolve over the next few years, because, obviously E3 has had to for a long time. PAX has rested on its laurels for a while and probably should have started evolving, but hasn't. Well, we'll see how it plays out over the next few years. Joining us also, a resident artist of Ready Check Radio, Yad. What's up, sir?
Peaches.
Yeah,
lots of peaches.
Lots of peaches. Peaches.
Yeah.
Peaches.
Yeah, the convention thing. Yeah, they've got to do something, because they got to look at their audience and who's going now. Because like, I'm getting ready to go in about a month and a half to MomoCon over here in Georgia, and talking to the workshop people that I work with there, because I'm running workshops. They say that the attendance has actually doubled and quadrupled since the whole pandemic.
Yeah, see, those types of cons are, I think, they're in a different bag, though, right?
Right.
That is
so
one that caters specifically to a certain community, and it's all about interacting with each other.
Right, it's a lot, but they try to do, when they started, it was all about Japanese animation, anime, that type of stuff. Then they pivoted to gaming. So they're kind of a combination of both anime and gaming, but they're not gaming announcements. They're
Right.
go there to play the games, go there to hang out with your friends. So like I said, you got to look at your crowd and who you're attracting, and if that's going to be sustainable. But I'm also sure I'll catch the Rona while I'm there.
Probably.
So
Or you'll come back with some type of con crud. It
yeah,
always happens.
yeah,
It always
yeah. That's how
happens.
con crud works. Yeah.
Hey,
See,
so
the thing is, I don't think I got it from the con itself. I probably got it from like dinners or something afterwards.
yeah, you
Right,
got it
it's
from
always-
the waitress at In-N-Out Burger and stuff. You know,
Exactly.
that's,
Like
yeah,
when we were
that's
fully
good.
masked, the whole thing is required for the convention.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's always when you start drinking or eating and the mask comes off and you
Yep.
get sloppy. That's what it is.
That's exactly. Yep.
Mhm.
Hey, so we're going to talk about a lot of Mario news today, including
Why?
the Mario Brothers
It's
movie.
peaches.
Yad and I have, in fact, seen the movie. Dom has not, but has seen some other stuff. And when we get to that, it's going to be relatively spoiler-free, but please know, like, there just really isn't anything to spoil.
Mario.
Like,
Yeah,
if
it's Mario.
you've
I'm gonna
played
ask
them...
for some direct spoilers though. So
That's fine. That's fine. If you're expecting like the spoilers in the plot, I don't know what to tell you if you've ever played a Mario game. Like, there's no spoilers in the plot
Mario
of the
goes
movie.
down the pipe. There, I've
Yeah,
spoiled everything.
exactly. So, but before we get to that stuff and the additional Mario stuff we want to talk about, it's been a weird week, kind of out of nowhere on a certain front.
Yes.
Now, obviously, I absolutely love my Steam Deck, right? Absolutely
Mhm.
love this bad boy. And I wholeheartedly, I've told you all, I do probably like 98% emulation on it and 2% actually touching my Steam library. So, I'm not the best when it comes to like, can it run this or can it run that? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I know it can
Well-
run Elden Ring because that was what Havoc and I were like, let's put it through its paces and really see what it can do at the time when it first came out. And so yeah, that's where we're at now. But there's always been a subset of quote unquote handheld computers, right? Even before the Steam Deck, there's a few that most people might know. And they typically cater to the emulation crowd, but they can do other things as well. And some of them are rather high-end. Some of them are very nice. And some of them you have bigger screens than the Steam Deck and all kinds of stuff. But they've usually been by one or two smaller companies and have had the drawback of being a little more on the pricey side because they are smaller companies. So while the Steam Deck didn't invent this genre of consoles or this subsect of consoles, what they have done is the affordable price point, right? The performance matched with a price point that Valve is like, we're going to take a loss on it and we don't care.
Mhm.
And now
Now.
we're starting to see some more companies get involved here that also have, obviously not the same bankrolls as Valve. Valve is massive, but are big in their own rights and have maybe a little more sway than some of the smaller companies. And we're taking a look this week because we actually many people thought, that it was an April Fool's joke, which is why their little thing had to say, not an April Fool's joke,
Oh,
right
really? This
on
is
it.
real.
Because ROG started releasing information about their ally, Republic of Gamers, aka Asus, and their ally, which is essentially a Steam Deck type unit. Okay, you can see a picture of it there. There's actually a whole video. It doesn't give you all the specs and everything. They're not ready to reveal that yet. But if you check out Linus Tech Tips, he did get a hands-on time as like the third person not working for Asus that got to touch this thing.
But they did have a Asus representative in the room
standing
to
right
make
there.
sure he's on script.
I remember when he did that with Steam Deck too, right? The first time he got to touch it was actually at Valve headquarters, and they were all in the room, and he went to scan it with he did a thermal scan of it, and they were fine with that. He wanted to scan it in some other way, and they were like, no, not yet. But
We're not ready for that yet.
they haven't released specific specs for this thing, but it does have a better screen, able to do 1080. They are saying that in most cases, it can outperform the Steam Deck at a 2-to-1 ratio, whether that be frame rate,
Impressive.
whether that be the resolution of the game being 1080 instead of 720, or sometimes smaller, depending on what you're playing, sometimes lower. The performance of the unit, they have doubled the fans. They have battery life that they say can outperform the Steam Deck at almost 2-to-1. So there's a lot of we don't knows, including, Dom, price point.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I feel like this can get lower than some of the current competition from the smaller companies simply because it is Asus. But I don't know how low they can take it, particularly with the hardware they're saying that they're going to put in it. But this is exactly what Valve wanted, right? Valve put out the Steam Deck specifically to create more competition in this space, and now they're getting it. What did you think of what you've been able to see so far of the Ally?
You there?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah. Dom, you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
You
yeah.
cut out, so I didn't hear
Yeah.
who it was directed to. I don't know.
We're
Like
also offline.
these handhelds
I
are
said
really
pre-show it was going to do that. You don't have to acknowledge it. Let's look like professionals here.
I was going right through it. So yeah, like I don't know, like you look at how it's like revolutionized from like the Switch, which was I'd arguably say the first kind of like home console version of this that was like good enough quality, and then we have
mass market appeal,
right, and then you have the Steam Deck, which improved everywhere on it. So I would expect nothing but the Sony one to be improvements over the Steam Deck. And if it's not, why would you release it in the first place?
Well, this isn't the Sony one. We're going to get to that in a second.
Oh, okay.
This is the ROG Ally.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the Ally, the wife actually went, "Can you play Final Fantasy on it?" 'Cause I think she's looking to get one if you can, and it looks good.
That's going to be the thing too, right? The initial availability. Yeah. That's always the issue.
Right.
I mean, it was an issue with Valve, but again, Asus, they make a few computer parts. I don't know if you've heard of them. They make a few computer pieces.
Just a few.
Dom, you had mentioned the Sony one. Now, this one's a bit of a different breed.
Right.
We don't quite know a ton about this one yet, Dom. Tell us what we do know so far. Because this is like huge grain of salt rumor territory, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, we do know, the major thing is cloud streaming, which, we kind of saw how well that went with Amazon, so
but
I don't...
it's not actually cloud streaming.
Yeah, and you gotta admit, Amazon kind of shot themselves in the foot and then executed themselves with the thing. They kind of did it to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Where, and like Mike said, this isn't really cloud streaming because you have to have, if it's to be believed, you have to have your PS5 to run it.
Right.
Which to me sounds more like what they did with the Wii U with the second screen setup.
It's a Chromecast.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a remote. It's a remote play tool. It'll probably be a little more than that, Dom. But yeah, this is my poopin' PS5. Like that's
yeah.
Like, can I take it and travel with it? Like, can I Wi-Fi connect to my home console?
So, Insider Gaming is reporting that the device is codenamed the Q Lite, and it will require the PS5. It uses Sony's existing remote play functionality to adaptively stream gameplay to the Q Lite up to 1080 60 frames per second. It'll resemble a PS5 controller with a massive 8-inch LCD touchscreen in the middle, adaptive triggers, volume buttons, speakers, and an audio input jack. It's currently set to release before the PS5 Pro and after the rumored detachable disk drive accessory that Sony's planning for the PS5. The detachable disk drive and the Q Lite are part of a previously reported second phase of the PlayStation 5's lifespan, which will include other hardware drops, including wireless earphones, wireless headsets. A lot of this coming to over Jeff Grubb over at Giant Bomb, kind of confirming some of this stuff. Because people were saying, oh, there's reports of a PS Vita 2, and Grubb came out and was like, no, I'd probably scale those down a little bit. This is not going to be a Vita 2. The only thing I've ever heard of is kind of a cloud streaming handheld. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be using the remote play feature, so there you go.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Why not?
No. It I don't know. I don't think it'll be as popular as if they just made it a straight freaking cloud streaming service. Like just cut the tether to PS5. You don't need it. Just use it as a cloud streaming device. I think that'd be a better deal for a lot of people. And like you can use it as a secondary screen or whatever for the PS5 if you choose to. But the primary feature is the cloud streaming thing if you don't have a PS5 or if you don't want to sink the money into a PS5. Because that's the whole thing is it becomes an accessory then.
Right.
And yeah, and for the prices that you're probably gonna have to pay, because it's got a screen built in. Let's face it, if it's got a screen built into it, the price jacks up quite a bit for an accessory. And most people aren't gonna want to plunk down to cash if they're just they can just play it on the screen that they have attached, or they've got a computer or whatever that they can if you're doing remote play, it's all there already. So why are you plunking down this extra cash for it?
Just make a wireless controller and allow me to like remote play to my cell phone at that point.
Right.
It's
It
probably
does
cheaper.
seem weird, doesn't it, Dom, that Sony's going this kind of avenue, or at least reportedly going this avenue.
Yeah. It definitely is. I don't know what to think about it. I originally crossed the two. I thought these two were the same, but I'm less excited for this now with knowing about this. So
Knowing that it
Asus
requires
thing
the
is
PS5.
impressive.
Yeah, the ROG Ally looking a little better for Dom.
it is. It absolutely is. So,
Baron in chat says, price of entry is a PS5. Ah, Steam Deck, here I come.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, see, that's exactly it.
Yep. I mean, the
Yeah,
same thing
and
happens
now
with the
costs-
PSVR, right? You're like, why is this
Right.
tethered to the PlayStation 5?
Right.
Well,
right.
requiring the
That's
PS5, this is now 3 times more expensive than the Steam Deck.
right.
Even not knowing the price point.
Yeah, at minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, minimum. Yeah. And I mean, the PSVR is a peripheral, but once again, how popular is it going to be right now? Because you have to tether it to a PlayStation. It's not
Yeah.
going to be as popular.
I mean, that's
as
putting a lot of faith in the PlayStation library, right? Because that's
Right.
got to be the only selling point that you can put on this, right? Is you have access to Sony's library on the go. But we also know that they're pushing more and more into the PC side of things anyway. And then your Steam Deck or your ROG Ally or whatever starts to open up and become an option at that point.
Right.
So the only thing that makes sense to me is Nintendo. Like
boy, that's
Nintendo
a weird
could get away
sentence
with this.
sometimes, isn't it?
Right? Nintendo would be able to get away with this in a heartbeat, and it wouldn't even. I wouldn't even be like, oh, there's wrong. Like, no, like I'd buy it right now. Like if it's all the same stuff as what PlayStation's going, saying you needed a Switch to like say Switch wasn't a handheld already, but say Switch was like built into the dock. And say, this accessory was coming out to allow it to be handheld and it's got pseudo cloud streaming, I'd buy it. I don't care. Nintendo, I'd do it. It's just because you can't get their IPs anywhere else.
Yeah, you can't get the libray legally anywhere else.
Right.
But Dom, if you buy it, it's just gonna sit in a box on your shelf.
I've never opened those NES and Super NES classics behind me.
Oh my God.
How's that, Rabbids? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Let's see. I think it's right.
You had
here.
a perfect excuse. You were having a trip to go to PAX. You had some travel time.
4 hours. I wouldn't get anywhere in there on a 4-hour trip.
A 4-hour trip.
I'm somebody who wants to sit down and beat the game in one sitting, right? I don't have that time right now.
Good Lord. Okay, let's talk about some Mario stuff. We're going to start off with the Super Mario Brothers movie, which I don't know if you've seen this or not. It's doing pretty good. Good.
It was quite good.
So for its total sales so far, and it came out on Wednesday. These sales include yesterday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, headed into Easter opening weekend. Domestically, here in the U.S., the film has done $195 million. That's
impressive.
way ahead of expectations for the game or for the movie. Worldwide, 368 million. It's the top showing ever for an animated title after supplanting Frozen 2, which had 358 million. Well on its way to probably some nice in the record books type deals, right? If it projects out through the rest of its opening weekend, it would be the second biggest 5-day launch in history, right behind Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, and it will, as well as being a near record Easter holiday gross overall. On Wednesday, just its opening day in North America, it was 31.7 million. Another 26 million on Thursday, just in the United States. So doing very well on the financing front, but not so much on the reviews front. Critics not liking this one so far. Over 200 critical reviews, not viewers, not the audience score, the critics reviews. Over 200 on Rotten Tomatoes so far, gents, coming in at a 56%. Over 5,000 verified ratings from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes, giving it a 96%. We're going to generally stay spoiler-free, but like I said at the beginning of the show, if you played a Mario game in your life from beginning to end, there's no spoilers to be had here from a plot standpoint. But, yeah.
I will ask a couple details.
Yeah, Dom has not seen it. Yad and I both have, so Dom will kind of be our question guy here.
Before we get into the actual plot and thick of the movie, the whole critics thing, I mean, I'm an avid movie watcher. I watch quite a few movies and do a lot of cinema stuff. And I've found that a lot of the reviews from critics these days, they don't understand what they're watching.
Well,
like these movies these days they're not made for the critics.
I don't know. If you read some of the reviews, they're kind of spot on. Like there weren't too many critical reviews that I looked at and I was like, wow, this is just totally out of touch. Most of them were pretty much spot on. A, the plot is threadbare. B, it's super cute and colorful and like a sugar rush. And C, there's a lot of nods to Mario fans. And I'm like, all those things are right.
A bad movie.
Well, if you're going for plot, it is lacking. It is like both Nintendo and Illumination played it safe.
Well, it's like asking what the plot to a Mario game is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is what it had to be.
I'm not saying I agree with them with their final review of it, but them saying the plot is kind of threadbare. Yeah, I mean, they're right. But I didn't expect it to be any more than that.
It is what it needed to be for an origin story for Mario. Which, I mean, what more can you ask for on a first foray into this type of movie?
Yeah, Baron, it's usually always that way. It depends on the movie, but critics hate something, audiences love it, audiences hate it, it gets critically acclaimed. It's usually one or the other. The rare movies that get both, those are the ones that are up for the Oscars that year. And that's generally the way it works.
Okay, so I'm going to ask one spoiler right off the bat, and this is in terms of plot. I made a prediction a couple weeks ago on here. And I want you to tell me if I was right or not.
Okay.
Because I don't care if if this ruins the plot of the movie. I had made a guess that it was a possibility that Chris Pratt was a Mario player that got sucked into the game.
That is not a plot point.
False.
No.
Okay, cool.
I can see where that assumption came from.
Mm-hmm.
Considering a specific scene in the movie where there is an Easter egg of
So I know a little bit about some of the Easter eggs, so I think this one is directly gonna kind of reveal that. So my question to you guys is, what did you think about Charles Martinet's voice?
Loved it.
Spot. Yeah.
He's in there twice.
The Easter egg you're talking about.
He's in there twice.
Yeah.
He plays two different characters. And pre-show we were talking about the voice and Chris Pine and everything like that. So if you saw the trailer where the Penguin Kingdom is under attack, that is literally the opening of the movie.
I figured as much.
So that is the first scene you see. And then the second scene is the Mario Brothers watching their commercial which was also revealed in the trailers.
Yeah.
As its own separate thing.
I did see that the commercial is actually up on YouTube, and it was to the Mario TV show theme song, correct?
Yeah, and we talked about that
right.
on this show when it came out, and we even called the number on this show.
Called the number. We went to the
Nice.
website that it showed.
Yeah, we did
and
all
it's
of it.
actually on a webpage.
So they're watching that, and I thought it was really clever off the beginning, just to kind of get the voice thing out of the way. They have very Mario and Luigi Italian deep accents in that commercial that they put together. And then when they're in the pizza parlor, the Punch-Out Pizzeria, which is cute, picture a Glass Joe on the wall. There's a reference. Do you think the accents were a bit much? No, that's probably what people were expecting. So like they throw away the fact that those voices are fake. And then Giuseppe, who is playing Jumpman on an arcade machine in the pizzeria, he turns around and goes, woohoo! Yeah, and that's Charles Martinet, who also ends up playing Mario's dad, who woohoos a few more times through the movie.
Yes.
So, like, it was cute how right off the bat they were like, fuck the voices. That's us putting them on for a commercial. These are our real voices. You've just never heard them. Let's go. Move on. Move on, folks.
I think that's a perfect way to address it. So what I find really interesting is back in the year of Luigi, which was about a decade ago now.
Yeah.
They did like this whole interview with a bunch of different YouTubers, and they asked the video in question was they were showing Luigi doing parkour, and they had the YouTubers. They were asking them to just like comment on like how awesome Luigi was, and it was completely improvised. And one of the YouTubers had mentioned something about Luigi's skills at parkour are only second to him with a plunger in his hand. And they cut the recording, and they said, look, we are trying to move away from the Mario Brothers being plumbers. Like we're trying to get away from their origins. We don't want to like have any indication of their job, their profession, or even that they're from Brooklyn. They were trying to get away from that. And I find that so interesting that like a decade ago, Nintendo was trying to wipe that and sweep that all under the rug. And here we are 10 years later.
This movie bites into both
that.
of that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bites into
it's
all
crazy
of it.
to me.
Yeah, they went deep with the Brooklyn and plumbing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know about you. I'm going to give my like top level. I thought the movie was incredibly charming. The animation is fantastic. The plot is a Mario game plot. Illumination and Nintendo were certainly playing it safe here. I'd like to see them get a little more, complicated or a little more in-depth or a little more interesting in a sequel, because there absolutely will be one when it makes this type of money, even if they didn't set it up for one, which they do.
Right. They don't need to, but they don't need to.
Right.
Even if they did, they don't need to.
No. But it will
sequel.
it will get another one. And I hope they'll take some more risks there. I feel like Nintendo was probably still a little bitten from the live action movie all those years ago and was like, look, let's just tell a Mario story. That's what audiences wanted X years ago. Let's just try to do that here. And they do. There are some genuinely funny moments. And then there's all kinds of moments that are funny for Mario fans or Easter eggy, whether it's in the dialogue, in the background, even in the music. All the iconic Mario music is used, but not ripped. It is twisted. It is played upon. Like musically, they have some fun with Mario themes and go in different ways. Yad, you and I have now watched 2 movies this week that had I Need a Hero in it.
Oh my god! Oh my god! And I mean, okay, so the wife didn't watch the first one with me. I was watching it here, but just when it hit on the screen, I'm like, oh my god! Again, perfect timing. That beats. Yeah, the riffs they take on the music in the movie are perfect. They go along beat per beat with what you're watching. It doesn't feel out of place at all. And like the people when they were watching the trailer and stuff were saying how they hated Chris Pratt, and it's just Chris Pratt being, talking like Chris Pratt. It didn't take me out of it at all. I saw him as Mario on the screen.
Donkey Kong did take me out of it a little bit. It's absolutely. It was just like Seth Rogen
that was a
100% normal voice.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he didn't do anything to try and mix it up a little bit. That was the only one for me.
With Jack Black, what I've noticed in some of the clips that I've heard, it almost seems like at times they twist his voice a little bit with like some robotic voice effects over it, but then at other times it just sounds like Jack Black. So
he's a little growlier than he normally is.
It almost seems like a mechanical growl though, like a digital effect, like something they did in post almost.
I don't know. I'd have to get into it a little bit more because I just saw him on The Mandalorian this week as well. So it was fresh in my head what he sounded like.
If you watch the Peaches video, he sounds more mechanical at the beginning of that song, and then it like fades away when he gets into the higher pitches. So I don't know if it's something he's doing to his own voice with the growls, but it does sound digital or mechanical to me.
The Peaches might be auto-tuned a little bit, I think, but the rest of his dialogue in the movie it just sounds like he may be doing a little bit of a Batman going on there, you know.
It is absolutely, I will say this, it is absolutely one of those movies that if you go to the movie theater not expecting much, which I feel like is the way you should go to see a Mario Brothers movie.
Right?
Like, if you go not expecting much, you will probably sit there with an 8-year-old smile on your face, looking at all the stupid things in the background, looking at all the, like, enemies or the side characters, and oh my god, those are Shy Guys, and then there's this one, and this one, and this one. Oh, look, there's a bunch of, you know, Yoshis running around. Oh, there's no green one. I wonder why. Like, are we going to see Yoshi later? Like, so, you know, I didn't expect anything of the plot. I know, like Angry Joe did. They tore the movie apart, and I'm like, "What did you guys expect?"
Right. Because the bar is down here. The bar is right here.
It was an hour and a half Nintendo commercial, and I knew it was gonna be that when I got there.
Yeah. I mean, I walked in just thinking, as long as it's not as bad as the first one from '93. That's all I was expecting. Is as long as it's better than that, I'll be happy. And I was actually ecstatic watching it. Like you said, like an 8-year-old kid with a smile on my face, giggling to myself.
I like that Peach wasn't just relegated to, you know, the damsel in distress. You know, others did not like that. I mean,
she's always kind of like taken up a role though. Like you look at Mario 2. You know, like she had her own game, Super Princess Peach.
She does float on her dress. She does float on her dress at one point.
So let me ask you guys, in terms of, I'm gonna omit one in particular. In terms of video game adaptations, what do you think is the best one other than Mario and other than The Last of Us? I want to see like where this compares to like what the next closest video game adaptation is to you.
I mean,
I'm cutting Last of Us out because it was a 1-to-1 almost.
As much as I love the Resident Evil movies, those got to go. They're not. They're not.
Terrible.
You know, I love them because they're kind of bad.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're not Resident Evil movies. They're Mila Jovovich movies.
Yeah. You're right.
The first one is the only one that it's kind of like on the fence.
Because then there's the CGI ones, which are pretty good, but they weren't. But you didn't go and see those in movie theaters,
right?
And then there's
Castlevania. I would say Castlevania is next.
Oh, as the show, the Netflix show. Yeah, that was really good. And really close to its source material too. Yeah. Because what it was with Dracula's Curse, I think, was what they followed initially.
Right.
The original Silent Hill movie is good.
Oh.
The sequels are not, but the original Silent Hill movie is pretty good.
Yeah.
So just trying to get a feel for like what your favorite video game movie was, like comparatively to like this Mario, like where that kind of okay.
Well, and the original Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie was really good. The subsequent sequel was terrible, but
it was.
Well, so I asked this question to someone else, and their answer was actually the 1990 Mortal Kombat movie. So
really good.
Yeah,
I could go there.
Do you think either of you would enjoy this movie if you were not a Mario fan?
No.
No.
I think you have to be.
Okay.
I mean, if you're an 8-year-old, if you're a kid,
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
get
yeah,
you
yeah,
into
yeah,
Mario.
yeah.
You'll totally get.
Yeah.
You're hooked on
Yeah.
Mario for life after this movie.
Or
Yeah.
or if you're a parent with young kids, obviously, like there's been a lot of movies I've seen that I just don't care for, but I enjoyed watching them with my like 8-year-old
Right.
son or my
Yeah.
daughter or whatever. If you are a grown adult who has almost no experience with or love for Mario and you go and see this movie alone, you might have a few chuckles and say the animation was really cool, and within a week you'll forget about it. Like
Yeah.
it's a forgettable plot. It's, and it
It's an
is all
introduction
about, do you love Mario? Then we've got a lot of wink wink nudge nudges for you over the next hour and a half.
And I mean,
And
just
by the
even
time
based
it's
off-
over, you want to boot up your DS. Like
Oh, yeah.
you
Oh,
want to boot up your
Oh, yeah.
DS or your
or
Switch.
Steam Deck.
Yeah, or your Steam Deck.
But like, so based on like you said at the beginning, the Punch Out Pizzeria, like obviously we all know, but there's some people that are watching this may not realize Mario was the referee in Punch Out. So
Yes.
like that's kind of the reference there. Is there even like these higher level tier nods? So with the exception
and
of
Giuseppe
Punch Out,
playing Jumpman, the
Right.
arcade machine Jumpman, that was his Mario's
Yep.
name in Donkey Kong before he was Mario. Like there is
So-
all kinds of the stuff
so
like that.
out-
Kid Icarus was in
outside
there.
of that, Jumpman, I guess, and the pizzeria. What do you think is your favorite Easter egg?
Mm.
I liked Kid Icarus. That was a
Oh
good nod
yeah,
to it.
that was cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was cute.
Yeah,
That
the Kid
so
Icarus one had to be.
Mario
I was
gets
like,
pissed at his
"Oh!"
family and he goes to his bedroom and he's playing the old school NES in the dark and he's playing Kid Icarus.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Music and all.
Yep.
That one was good. There were some musical Easter eggs in there too.
The Mario rap from the original Mario
Yeah.
TV show.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Well, the Donkey Kong rap is in there too.
Yeah, Donkey
That
Kong
was
rap.
something Seth Rogen demanded when he took the
Yeah.
role.
That's great. That's great.
Unfortunately, the original Donkey Kong rap author or writer is not credited in the movie. That's kind of weird.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nintendo's usually pretty good about that stuff.
That was Grant Kirkhope, right?
Yeah. So, like a visual nod. Okay, this really isn't an Easter egg. It's an artistic moment that they do twice to great effect. Once when Mario and Luigi are getting from point A to point B and running through New York to get there. And then once when Mario and Toad are running from the beginning of the Mushroom Kingdom to the castle. And it happens a third time. Mario and Donkey Kong later in the movie running to try to get to Bowser's castle. And the way it's animated, it's really like they film it as with like a left-right scrolling camera.
Yes.
Like they're
Yes, they
running
do.
through a level.
Love
And
that.
helping
Thinking
each
about
other
that.
open
Yeah.
doors. It is very video gamey.
Yeah, it
Getting through there,
was.
and I thought that was a really nice nod. If you've played, you're like, hey, this looks like them running through a level together. And if
So-
you don't, then it's you just okay. They're just running through the scene.
Yeah, because
So
like I
that-
said, it didn't click in my head until you said that.
Yeah. So that doesn't feel like as jarring or out of place as like when they did that with the Doom movie.
No,
No. The Doom first person shit was crap.
Good.
No.
Good.
it was very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
everything's flowed together very smoothly. The whole, I mean, you've seen in a trailer where they have the sequence where he's jumping around, where it looks like a level of Mario, and
Yeah.
it's like floating in the sky. The usage of that in what they used it for in the movie, I thought was perfect.
Yeah, it totally works. It totally
Yeah.
works. It was just, I couldn't
Yeah,
help but smile the entire
Right?
damn movie. Does it make sense that Rainbow Road connects point A to point B the way it did?
Yeah.
No, but who cares?
Yeah, it worked. It worked.
Who cares?
I think what that was doing was kind of crossing. I haven't seen it obviously, but I think it's crossing two concepts of Rainbow Road and Star Road from Mario World.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think it's probably doing that.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make sense the way it's used. You're just like,
Mhm.
those two things don't connect. This is, but it does. Who cares? Like,
No,
who the
it
fuck
doesn't
cares?
matter. It doesn't matter.
I
No.
think if you went into this expecting any real like cinematic masterpiece, then you were just being dumb from the onset. I think If you expect to go unplug your brain, have a little bit of fun, watch Mario beat up Bowser and help the princess or slash rescue the princess, you're gonna smile when you leave. You just
Awesome.
will.
yeah.
You just will.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely. I cannot wait to get this on Blu-ray and slowly go through the movie to get all the smaller Easter eggs.
Right, so
because
like,
some of them are
what-
right in your face, and then obviously I'm sure there's
Yeah.
hundreds littered throughout the damn thing.
Right. So what I found was interesting was not related to Mario, but the Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out.
Yeah.
They announced a release date, which was, I forget now, October 26th, 27th. And they announced that it's going to be available on Peacock like right away because they want the lore junkies of Five Nights to be able to like sit there and analyze the movie and not have to wait like a month for it to get released or whatever. So like they're doing a theatrical release and the Peacock release at the same time. Do you think Mario would have benefited from something like this, or
Nope.
do you think it's
Nope.
best to do the theater experience?
Nope. No. You can't argue with them pulling almost 200 million, and they haven't even gotten to the Saturday and Sunday box office yet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, this is the biggest thing Illumination's ever done as far as opening week, and that's the team that did Minion and Despicable Me and all that. Like the money, the sales on this one, they're just no freaking joke.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know I know they did take a cautious step, and it's it's totally legit why they did it because of how the last movies turned out.
Well, I will say that it
totally
did seem like
understand.
Nintendo let them take a little bit of
They did take a little
like Bowser references trying to kill Mario.
Right,
And
right.
Nintendo has always been like coy on that stuff.
Right,
Like,
but it was a safe-ish step. I understand why they did it, but I think they did really take it very seriously, considering the creator of Mario was on board with it to work on it, and the head of Illumination was directing it.
right.
Not one of his guys, not one of the
Right.
other
Not
groups. It was the head of Illumination dealing with it directly. So they did take it very seriously, and they wanted it to be a success, and it was. I mean, you can't argue with the money, like you said.
Do you think this movie would benefit with a Mario game being released right around the same time?
Well, so that's kind of
So
on that. I mean, it would have been excellent cross promotion, but I don't think either one of the two needs cross promotion. Like a new Mario game, if you're going to buy that or not already. And a Mario movie, whether you're going to see that or not. I don't think you're going to go to one and think about buying the other. But would it have been good? Yeah, I mean, it would have been hundreds of millions of dollars in on both sides of that fence. But when are we going to see a new Mario movie or Mario game? It's been 6 years, gang.
Yeah.
It's been 6 years. And Shigeru Miyamoto was actually asked that in an interview with Variety, like, when are we going to get another Mario Brothers game? You got the Super Nintendo World Theme Park opening. You got the Mario Brothers movie opening. Why was there no game like in this time slot? And he just kind of laughed and he said, well, all I can say is stay tuned for future Nintendo Directs. To be more specific in the translation, he said, I can't say anything in advance, but we have Nintendo Directs every 2 or 3 months, so please look forward to those. So maybe not the next Nintendo Direct, because he was kind of specific on we have a few coming, but it looks like we could possibly sometime this year get word on a new Mario game, which would be nice. I'm all for one. It's been 6 years.
So it's been 6 years for a main title.
Yeah.
You gotta look too. Like we have Mario Kart, right? It's been next year will be a decade since Mario Kart 8 was released.
Yeah, but Mario Kart keeps getting that's almost like their kind of pseudo live service, right? With all the different DLCs that just keep expanding on that game.
yeah, you just add a new rider and you add a new map, and
Not saying I wouldn't pick up a new Mario Kart. I absolutely would. I'd pick up Mario Kart 9, but I don't feel as bad on that one because it's one that's never really left my brain yet. Because you get the DLC and you're like, okay, that's cool. Let's go check out the new stuff
Have you jumped in to check out the new courses?
Yeah. Yeah. We still play it in my place. We still play it in my
Nice.
place.
Nice.
We love us some Mario Kart. Oh, by the way, we're talking about directs, Yod. We talked,
Yes.
Dom. We talked last
Yeah,
week.
definitely.
You weren't on the show, but there was like that 10 minutes of Zelda gameplay revealed, and I did
Oh,
want to
yeah,
give
yeah,
you
yeah.
a minute to kind of chime in on what you saw there.
Okay, so I think the combining of weapons and items and all kinds of stuff like that is really cool. I think I'm very excited for that. It allows for some unique combinations and puzzles, which is my main issue with the first game. Is I felt a lot of the puzzle elements were very lacking because you basically got everything right at the start. But having this level is like it's something you probably still get right at the start, but this level of like combining things adds such more depth to puzzles that it has the opportunity and the potential to make a lot of the puzzles more in depth, which is basically what I was looking for. I don't know how I feel about warping through the ceiling still, like that really, because like as much as I don't like climbing, it seems to take a lot away from exploring the environments if you could just like warp through the roof and climb to the top of a mountain instantly. Um, I feel like that takes a little bit away from it, but we'll have to see how often it's able to be used since it can only be used in certain circumstances. And then the one thing that was not in the trailer, which I still sorely miss, are actual dungeons. So that's not to say they're not going to be in the game, but this late in the game, not showing us a dungeon has me very worried.
We'll find
so
out.
I feel like it's
Only a
be
month
the shrine
away.
situation
Little
again.
over a
So-
month away.
But the big question is it more Zelda now to you?
He's gonna have to wait to see the dungeon point. You know, that's like
I
a
mean,
big thing
that's-
for Dom as far as Zelda goes.
Zelda dungeons are a staple, but so are the puzzles. And if the puzzles take a little more, if there's a little more weight to them with this combining of items, then maybe I can overlook it more so than I did in Breath of the Wild. I'm still very skeptical. I'm still on the fence. I'm still not excited for it, but I'm gonna play it.
Okay.
It's a
Or
weird thing because it's like
at
it's Zelda. I
minimum-
want to be excited,
At
but I'm
minimum, you will buy it and leave it sealed on your desk. At minimum.
At minimum, I've already bought the collector's edition, so
Oh,
You can see mine from Breath of the Wild right there.
Yeah.
Right in the back.
I got lucky, and I was at work. I was looking at something, and they're like, I got a notification from one of the Amiibo Twitters that I follow, and they're like, the collector's edition's on sale right now. So I went, I grabbed it, and went boom, boom, boom. I went, told one of my coworkers, turned around, it was sold out as fast as I like. Is within a minute. I was like, I am so glad that I didn't tell them first and then tried to buy it.
It's funny how
like,
freaking big that collector set is for a game that's the size of an SD card.
Yeah.
Hey, before we leave the topic of Mario, I did go over to NintendoLife.com and I took a look at where the Mario games currently rank. Not according to like somebody on their staff, but the reviews from people that play Mario games, and they aggregate them together. 10 out of 10, and how many reviews has it gotten? That type of thing. So currently, right now, number 1 is Super Mario World on the SNES. Number 2 is Super Mario Brothers 3 on the NES. Number 3 is Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii. 4 is Super Mario Galaxy 2. And 5 is Super Mario Odyssey on the Switch. How's that top 5 sit with you, Dom?
Actually, pretty perfect. The only thing I think I would swap on that list is Galaxy 2, I think was better than the original Galaxy. So I would actually swap and make the sequel number 3, and then Galaxy 1 I would put it at number 4. But the rest I would keep the same. World in 3, because I had 3 I felt was the first Mario game that I really got super into as a kid. 3 and World might be interchangeable for me, but for nostalgia purposes, but as game mechanics and the overall feel, I could understand why World is in the number 1 slot, and I don't disagree with that. I might even put Mario RPG in my top 5. So I might put instead of Odyssey, I would put Mario RPG.
What about you, Yad?
I didn't play the Wii and the Switch ones.
Oh, you're missing some good Mario games.
Yeah, but the Mario World Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
I do
I'm kind of with you. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, yeah.
I do find it odd how low on the list the actual Mario 2 was.
Yeah, hey.
Not the American Mario 2, the actual Mario 2.
Yeah. Yeah, the American one was
The,
just
the
Doki
lost
Doki
level.
Panic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm kind of fine with the top 5, even with Galaxy being 3 and Galaxy 2 being 4. And for me, the SNES one does have to be number 1, simply because that is the first time that Shigeru Miyamoto was able to introduce Yoshi, which I think took a lot of additional paths as far as game design when you have that additional element. Those two games, yeah, I could. If you're gonna say 3 is your favorite, I'm not gonna argue with you because mine's probably number 2 on my list. But
Frog suit.
yeah, like the frog suit,
But,
yeah, but it
but
wasn't Yoshi. It
Yeah,
wasn't
it wasn't
Yoshi.
Yoshi.
Kiribo's boot. Come on, let's go. So
You-
the
you-
first Yoshi.
Yeah.
Eat something and poop out an egg.
Yeah. Yep.
Or Kiribo's shoe, I think it was called. But yeah.
Oh my.
Oh,
Yeah.
before we completely shift, I had one other question that's kind of related to the Mario movie for you guys. If you guys had to choose based on the animation and the style of that movie, what is the next Nintendo franchise you would want to see turned into a movie?
Oh, it'd have to be Zelda for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Zelda.
100%.
Both Zelda?
Yeah. Yeah.
I personally, without even seeing the Mario movie, as much as I also love Zelda, I feel like I would maybe even want a Star Fox or a Metroid personally.
I don't think you can. I mean, you certainly can longer term, but I don't think you go from Mario to Metroid.
Right.
I think there's a significant audience drop off
Star
between those two
Fox
games.
in that style, okay. Metroid, I would like to see that shift more towards an anime-ish style, just because of mechanical design.
Torchwick says a Rocky style Punch Out movie.
That would be interesting too.
Okay. I could even see Kirby maybe being popular. So I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
All
But, yeah,
right. We're gonna skip. We're gonna skip the food thing because we gotta
That's fine, that's fine.
roll. We gotta roll.
My answer is no, by the way.
In some miscellaneous news, let's talk about very briefly the Tetris movie.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because that came out too. We talked about it last week because it was already up, but we hadn't had a chance to watch it yet. Yad and I have since watched said Tetris movie, and I'll tell you what, like I knew the history of Tetris going into it. I don't know if you two did. You
Yes.
did.
I
So it was,
did, yeah.
you know the whole trying to get it out of Russia, all that stuff.
Yep.
And so you kind of expect this to be like a half-ass movie. And it's not, dude. It was so well done.
Oh my god.
It was so stupid good.
I know.
Is it like a pseudo documentary, almost like the Weird Al movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
kind of one guy kind of telling, somebody else about what happened, and then they all go back and, act it all out.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. It is so good. There's the acting is phenomenal.
Yeah, they were all committed to these. I mean, they were good.
They're talking about fucking Tetris, and like they're so committed. The music is great. This was the other movie we heard I Need a Hero in, except it had chiptune built into the background of the track, and the lyrics were in Russian, so it was fantastic. Like, it was so stupid good. There's a chase scene, an escape scene. It's Tetris! But this, the movie's so good.
It messed with your emotions.
It really
got
did.
You going. I mean, just sitting there and you see going.
Yeah.
And then by the end, you got a tear
did.
in your eye.
Yeah, you really do. If you
Oh my God.
you don't know the story of Tetris, then it's absolutely worth watching.
Yeah.
Just because it is a very, very interesting story, and they do take a few dramatic licenses with it,
Oh,
but
yeah.
not enough that you won't understand what happened. And yes, this did happen almost exactly like this in real life.
Mhm.
How deep into the movie did you have to wait for the Tetris theme?
It's used
Right off the
throughout.
bat?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I
And-
mean, it's Tetris.
Yeah.
It was so good, Yod. It really
Oh, yeah.
was. I watched it first and I was like, Yod, this is phenomenal. It has no right being this
Yeah.
good. And he's like, all right.
Okay.
He was like, I'm gonna watch it later. I'm in the middle of this, but I watch it tonight. And then I get a message that later that night. He's like, oh my god, this is so stupidly good.
Cool.
So absolutely worth watching. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2. We got some news about that this week ahead of launch. If you're planning to play that bitch on PC, holy hell, clear some memory now. That damn thing is 155 gigs. 155 gigs on the PC. Rip your PlayStation 5 SSD if you haven't expanded that by this point yet. Holy hell, that's a big
Yeah, because you
file.
can't even play it off the disc; it still downloads.
Yep. We also had Star Wars Celebration, and I know it's not technically video game related, but
It's still going right now.
it's still going. Yeah, we are now getting, in addition to a bunch of small stuff, we're not going to go through the whole convention. We are getting 3 main live action movies. Now, these are not going to be numbered Star Wars versions, but they are going to be set in the Star Wars universe, and Daisy Ridley is going to be back as Rey in an additional film that talks about the creation or trying to recreate, the Jedi Order. So we're going back into a couple different timelines, and as a result of this, by the way, KOTOR and the Old Republic became canon again. So that's cool if you're a fan of Knights of the Old Republic or the Old Republic, because they kind of...
Are they?
Well, so it's technically no, but they're acknowledging the Old Republic's time period.
Yep.
And those items are the only... so they didn't say these things are canon, but they said that time period is canon. And those are the only things that describe that time period right now. So
Well, considering
It's kind of
it's a by proxy canonization.
it's kind of like how they brought Thrall, Grand Admiral Thrall in,
Yeah.
where like he's a canon character, but everything in the books that he did is not canon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, considering who they have in charge of one of the films and probably the overall, overarching story Bible of the 3, he's gonna put some nods in there.
Oh,
He's
100%.
he's gonna make mention of things and recanonize a whole bunch of shit that people like.
100%.
Yeah.
Just to give you a little update on a topic from last week, Resident Evil 4 has now exceeded the 4 million units sold, the Resident Evil 4 remake. Last week, it was at a paltry 3 million after a couple of days of release. Now it's up above 4, so Capcom's sitting pretty. But the free Mercenaries DLC did come out. It is missing both Wesker and Ada Wong, so yeah, they're probably going to be locked behind the upcoming DLC instead. And I'm showing you a screenshot of these microtransaction coupons for weapon upgrades that you can buy in the game for the Mercenaries mode, which has a lot of people not very happy, feeling a bit pay to win when you could just buy your way to fully upgraded weapons. Again, you're talking about the Mercenaries mode. So, yeah. Good old that.
Gotta love that.
Yod, what do you got here? What is this finishing thing you got?
Oh, that apparently Monster Energy drink has been suing and it's been an ongoing thing apparently. Has been suing video games and video game companies for using the word monster in their title, such as Monster Hunter in Pokemon or Pocket Monster. Now, the cases have failed horribly. Most of them are dismissed outright, just the moment they enter the court system, but it's still kind of mind-boggling that they think they can trademark monster. Trademarks work in a certain way, okay?
Yeah, so this is one of those things that's really dumb, though. Like,
it is.
Yeah, it may sound stupid on the surface, but we've talked about this before, where when you get into trademark and copyright law here in the United States, if you don't defend your product or your IP, then somebody legitimately steals it, the courts will actually look at your failure to defend in previous instances as a willingness to be okay with it. So like we saw Elder Scrolls go after the game Scrolls all those years ago under the same like product confusion label. And they I forget how that one settled out. It didn't actually go to court, but
No,
Um,
well the trade with trademarks, it actually has to look similar to your trademark.
well, yeah, if you're going straight trademark, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the only way you can do this, because you can't copyright the word monster. That's the whole thing, is you cannot, a word like monster, that's the whole problem with some of the Marvel characters like Wolverine. You can't copyright Wolverine.
Well, the
It's
claim
a
though
word
still
in-
stands the same. Monster is claiming it's going to result in consumer confusion.
But
And they're not
unless
even claiming about the logo, which is primarily what's trademarked. They're saying the use of monster in any title leads to confusion.
you can't do
It is ridiculous. That's why these things get tossed. But there is a record now when somebody does try to make a Waster energy drink with a W logo that Monster says, look, we vigorously defend our trademarks and our IPs. We're going to go after you too, and the courts can see a record of attempt to defend.
But it's got to look like it somehow, is the thing.
Well, I mean, that's why these things keep getting tossed.
And if you actually make a energy drink called Wanster, you can actually trademark the word Wanster because it's not an actual word.
Yeah, and it's not going to sell, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, but monster.
I mean, it depends.
Monster, though.
No, that's the adult diaper. You can't make it called Depends either. Either there, Dom. And I wouldn't drink an energy drink called Depends. I just wouldn't.
It depends on who you get to like sponsor it. If you got Jack Black singing about monsters, you're probably gonna sell
Monster. Let's go do games of the week. Week is the way we end every episode of Gaming Gumbo here. It's where all three of us are about to recommend a game for you. It could be a video game, board game, card game, mobile game, whatever. Something we've played in the past, or playing right now, or have never played at all, but think you should try out. And you let us know in the comments who gave the best recommendation. Yod, you're up.
Go play some Super Mario Brothers, the original.
Oh, the cop-out answer.
That was the cop-out answer today.
It's what's in my brain.
Uh-huh. You got peaches on the brain, and I'm not even going to commentate on that one. I'm going to go with Spellcraft. It's in a technical alpha right now, but you can get access to it on Steam just by clicking the request access button. It's an instant thing, and I think they're running for about another 7 or 8 days here, so you have a little bit of time to play it. I'm not generally a fan of auto battlers, but this is kind of a real-time strategy mixed with an auto battler, and it actually plays really, really fun. I would recommend checking it out, and it doesn't cost you a dime. Have some fun. What do you got, Dom?
Let's go with the #1 most rated Mario game, Mario Run. No, I'm kidding. Demonologist is one that I haven't played yet, but I've watched a lot of footage on, and it's kind of like the Phasmophobia genre kind of like style game. It looks very interesting to me, so that's one that I'm going to be checking out soon.
Absolutely. Check them all out. Let us know in the comments who won. We'll be back next week with another episode of Gaming Gumbo on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Until then, Yod, where can everybody find you?
Yodarks on Twitter, Yodarks on Facebook. Eventually, when MomoCon comes around, running workshops, and right here on Gaming Gumbo.
Dom.
You can find me down below at It's Zista on Twitter.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at MagicMan1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO, and you'll know exactly when we're going live with a podcast, stream, or hanging out playing some Final Fantasy TCGs. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.